Hello, YouTube. In the winter of 1959, 9 young hikers, skiers, most of them students of the Ural Polytechnic Institute, who embarked on a hike under the leadership of Igor Dyatlov, disappeared in the mountains of the Northern Urals, USSR. A month later, rescuers found their tent cut open, and within a radius of 1.5 kilometers from it, they found 5 frozen bodies. The bodies of the others were found only in May. Almost all the hikers were barefoot and half-dressed. Some had fatal injuries. This case is still not solved, why the young people ran away in the bitter cold and to their doom. The tragedy that occurred over 65 years ago, the Dyatlov Pass, continues, of course, to worry Russians. And there are many people who want to know what had happened. Those interested in my continuous research of this case need only look in the playlist I have titled Dyatlov Pass. I follow up on most interesting Russian developments and hypotheses. And my research began back in early 1990s. But I have Soviet references from earlier times when the case was not discussed and was basically a forbidden subject. But you know what? Even the totalitarian system is not able to silence people, to cancel them, to silence them. And those who are emulating the Soviet way of silencing their opponents today should remember it. Let me start by describing to you what a chum is. A chum is a temporary dwelling used by the nomadic Uralic people, Nenets, Nganasan, Nenets, Hanty-Mansi, Komi, Selkups, reindeer herders of northwestern Siberia in Russia, of the Urals, to the Evenks, Tungusic people living in Russia, Mongolia, and China also use chums, as do the Yeniseian-speaking Kati people. And you can find references to a number of those different ethnicities in my videos. The chums are also used by the southernmost reindeer herders of the Todja region of the Republic of Tiva and their cross-border relatives in northern Mongolia. It has a similar design to a Native American teepee, but some versions are less vertical. It is closely related to the Sami La Vu in construction, but is somewhat larger in size. Some chums can be up to 30 feet, 10 meters in diameter. The frame of a traditional chum is made of wooden poles that are organized in a circular cone. The cover around the frame may be of reindeer hide sewn together, as well as bark or felt. Modern chums may use modern materials. In the middle, there is a fireplace used for heating and to keep mosquitoes away. The smoke escapes through a hole at the top of the chum. The frame and cover are usually quite heavy, but could be carried by the reindeer. The chum is still in use today as a year-round shelter for the Yamal, Nenets, Hanty, and Todja Tivan people of Russia. The word chum came from the Komi language. It means shelter, tent or shelter. But now let's go back to the winter of 1959. There was a chum on the way of the Dyatlov group hikers to the cedar tree. The nearest distance from the direct tent to cedar to the chum is 300 meters. On the way to the cedar, the hikers could visit that chum, or they could have bypassed it on the left. What is the mystery of the object chum? Well, chum is the conditional name of the object given by the first rescuers, or I'll refer to them as searchers from now on the site. The facility consists of structures chum and 2 sticks, which most likely made up a single complex. This object may be directly related to the mystery of the Dyatlov Pass. The chum is mentioned in the criminal case. The object, two sticks, has not been studied by the searchers who were on site. Therefore, it is more difficult to analyze. The chum was photographed at least one time and was included in the case file. The Dyatlov group members' footprints from the tent discovered by the searchers led in the direction of the chum and not to the cedar tree. Look at the chum archive photo from 1959. This is the original chum photo taken that year, 1959. Later, the chum disappeared, and it did not appear on the plateau again. The chum is not just 5 sticks attached with vertices. This is a rather tricky product. 3 locks and it's actually 3 and 2 locks. 2 locks are interlacing of sticks on 2 levels. The third lock is the horns of an elk. The height of the chum, more than 3 meters. Moose horns are a valuable hunting trophy. The only question is, whose trophy was this? The horns belonged to a strong adult moose. Such horns weigh more than 20 kilograms. The participation of horns in the object is inexplicable in any version of the construction of the chum by man. In addition, the horns are located high. It is impossible to fix them at such a height without a ladder. The second irrational object of the chum, the so-called horei. This is a long straight stick that is not involved in the supporting structure. Here's what I also know, but I do not have photographs for it. An object identical to Cholat Chachal chum from the site, from the Dyatlov Pass site, has been discovered in the United States. Surprisingly, not only the design is similar, but also the individual elements. There are 2 more sticks in the American chum, but the same 2 locks and the horei. However, there are no horns. The American chum is attributed to the Sasquatch or teepee, the giant humanoid creature of America. A long, perfectly flat log, a horei, is not only involved in both structures, but is also directed in the same way to the local peak located on the terrain. Here's a hypothesis. We're dealing with a special structure of an unknown being, which is being built by it or him in different regions of the planet Earth. But that's not all. A careful analysis of the 1959 photograph showed that there was a so-called bed in the chum. This is referred to the area flattened out inside. It's just the Russian way to refer to it. Can chum mean the exit of the portal, or is it itself a portal, that chum that I'm referring to from 1959? The answer to this question is unknown. Thus, the tent of the Dyatlov group hikers on the slope of Halat Chachal was located in close proximity to objects that could have been built by large creatures unknown to man. The purpose of these objects is not clear. On that fateful night, the Dyatlov group fled towards these objects. Then their footprints are lost and found in the cedar tree area. The objects, chum and 2 sticks, were fully investigated by the rescuers, searchers in 1959, and later they completely disappeared from the ground, from the area where the tragedy took place, if this is where it took place. But that takes us to other hypotheses, and I'm listing as many as I can in my videos. And you, of course, can make up your mind, but I think you have to wait for more information to come out. And slowly, things do come out. So stay tuned for more videos. And if you like my research and you can support it, please do so through the links you'll find in the description to this video, please tell others about my investigation and my videos generally about paranormal Eurasia and other parts of the world. Please like my videos. Thank you for your attention to my work.